3. The entire Maharwada looked upon the 4 weeks of Ashad as one of those rare occasions of festivity and joy. On every Friday and Saturday of this month, the Yesker Mahar would carry several huge cane baskets to the temple of the goddess. The entire village flocked to the temple with varied dishes as offerings to the goddess Euro, fried delicacies, curd rice, bhajis cooked with choice spices and kurwadia. They also offered beautiful pieces of kun and bangles to the goddess. The food offered to the goddess would fill 3 or 4 baskets. People would break coconuts before the goddess and the broken halves would fill up a couple of more baskets. After sunset, some of the Mahar men would keep folded gangadi on their heads, place the huge baskets filled with the offerings on top and carry the load to the chadi. There they would spread the gangadis on the floor, take out all the food from the baskets and arrange it neatly on the gangadis. The food would then be divided into small heaps on yet another gangadi, for distribution among the Mahars in keeping with their status and honor. Meanwhile, someone would rush to the Maharwada to make a public announcement, "A euro, come on folks, all you men, women and children, come and take home your share of the offerings. A euro trademark." The announcement would cause such a frenzy in every household. 7 or 8 kids would burst forth from each house. Naked, their noses running, they would sprint madly towards the chadi. People flocked to the chadi in the incessant drizzle, fully drenched. Covered with mud, they crowded around the gangadis of food, clamoring to collect their share. The entire chadi would soon get mud-smeared. The Karbari would divide the food into small portions, according to the share due to each of the Mahars. People would literally pounce upon their share. Children jumped up and down to snatch food from their Parensa Euro trademark hands. Half the food would get over on the way home, and the remaining food did not last very long either. However, without saying a single word, and with their eyes glued to the food, the poor hungry daughters-in-law would helplessly wait for their turn to eat. Just in case Asasa noticed this, she would contemptuously throw a morsel at her daughter-in-law, saying, "A euro push that down your throat, you shameless hussy. Arena Euro trademark to you, ashamed to stare so at a child wo Euro trademark s eating. At least let the food get down his throat. Your evil eye will make the child choke. Don't a Euro trademark to you know how to behave like a good daughter-in-law, a Euro trademark." By the time 3 weeks of Ashad were over, Amawasya would be approaching. The hearts of the people would be fired with grand expectations. This Amawasya night was known as the Goddess Mothra Euro trademark S. Reed Jatra, or the Buffalo Fair. Reed Jatra was an extremely important event, considered to be a gift the Mahars had received directly from Indra, the king of gods. From the moment the first cock crowed, the white-haired Mahars, the wise old men of the community, could be seen rushing about hectically. All the men would get up at the crack of dawn, bathe in the stream, gather loads of the wild pink canher blossoms and carry them to the chadi where they were piled neatly in a corner. Then the men would return home, grind sandalwood paste, and apply it on their forehead as a holy mark. The women would have already polished the ground with dung on the previous night. By now even the young boys would have bathed in the stream. They arrived at the chadi looking fresh and clean. Then an elderly Mahar would take charge of the affairs, distribute the work among them and send them all off on different errands. "A euro boys, now go and fetch Dajwa Euro trademark S. Sriranga, Gunya Euro trademark S. Satya, Awa Euro trademark S. Ranya. The buffalo will be very difficult to control. You want a Euro trademark to be able to handle it by yourself. A Euro trademark." The boys would immediately set off. They would go from house to house, calling out to people by their names, fetching them to the chadi. The elders often pretended to scold the young men in mock anger. "A euro, come on, you bastards, you know that nobody can do this work except you. Now look sharp. String the buffalo through the nose, take it to the stream, bathe it and bring it back. In the meantime, a Euro trademark LL send a word to Ramba. Yesha Euro trademark S daughter-in-law will be our Suwasini today. A Euro trademark LL ask her to put kumkum on the buffalo. A Euro trademark." Then one of them would turn to the women, "A Euro and you there, Sidi Vahini, Kondi Kaku and Buni Kaku, take these grains of jowar and distribute them among the households for pounding. Take care that the work is done well, otherwise, mind you, we Euro trademark LL hang onions in your hair. Guni Kaku and Kondi Kaku, take these red chillis and grind them fine. The panji must be good. Remember, you are not like sluts on the streets. So don't a Euro trademark tea cook like them. The panji must taste good. It must become like locky, soft and properly mixed. Relatives and guests will come from all nook and corner for the fair, so take care that the food is cooked well. A Euro trademark." And the women, pulling their pulav over their heads to show that they were decent housewives, and not like some woman on the street, would say in reassurance, "A Euro Karbari, we do belong to respectable families. We know how these things are done. Don't a Euro trademark tea worry, leave it to us. We Euro trademark LL cook the barbet so well that our guests would never have tasted anything so delicious in their whole lives. A Euro trademark." Then the women would bathe, put red kumkum marks on the foreheads with a line of haldi below, and begin the sacred work. They would beat the jowar grains and grind the red chilies to a fine powder. Everything would be kept ready. In the meantime, the young men would have got the buffalo back from the stream, its back glistening in the sun. They would string a rope through the buffalo a Euro trademark S nose, and tie it to the iron railing at the chadi. Someone would massage the buffalo with oil. Someone else would paint its horns red, and yet another would stick lemons onto the sharp ends of the horns. Then the Mang-Sawasinis, specially invited for the occasion, would smear the buffalo Euro trademark's forehead with red kumkum, wash its feet with water, worship it, and finally feed it with the pounded and cooked jowar grains and liquor. The men would put garlands of canher flowers around the buffalo Euro trademark's neck. Meanwhile, one of the Mang-Sawasinis would take the holy bath. She had to wear a green sari and a green blouse. They would rub haldi all over her body and smear her forehead with kumkum, and place a coconut and some grains in her palav. The coconut would be broken during the ritual. The Sawasini was made to carry a jar of water, with the coconut placed above it on her head. By 2:00 Euro trademark clock in the afternoon, the buffalo would become fully intoxicated. The Padal, the chief of the village, would then give the Mang-Sawasini a new sari and a piece of kun. By now, the preparations for the fair would be nearly over. Then one of the men from the Mang community would be asked to publicly announce that the buffalo fair was about to begin. Euro, listen, honorable folks, listen, Euro trademark, he would shout at the top of his voice. Euro, the Padal has given orders to start the buffalo fair. So the buffalo will now be paraded through the village. Everybody should remain inside their homes and keep their doors bolted while the procession is going on. Euro trademark. The whole village would disappear indoors and stay behind closed doors. Not even a stray mongrel could be spotted anywhere. The entire place acquired a deserted look. With this, the preparations for the fair would be complete. One man carried a clay pot, containing amble and gugria, another held a leafy neem twig, and yet another followed with a pot of gamutra. The Mang-Sawasini swayed in her green sari and green blouse, a garland of canher flowers around her neck, her untied hair falling loose down her back. The Padal wore the traditional brocade turban, and carried a sword in his hand. Some people from the village accompanied the Padal. Once everybody had gathered, 2 more ropes would be strung through the buffalo Euro trademark's nose, with their ends hanging out on each side. Then the procession would begin, with the Padal accompanied by other men from the village, leading in the front, followed by the Mang-Sawasini and a couple of men holding her on both sides. The entire Mahar community followed behind. The buffalo fair, as this procession was called, marched silently in the hot sun. By now the Mang-Sawasini would be possessed by the goddess. She would sway from side to side, moaning and twisting her body as if in a trance. It required at least 4 men to control her. The buffalo would be completely intoxicated. Its eyes would acquire the color of blood. The Padal would already have made cuts on its thighs from which blood oozed out. With a kumkum-smeared forehead, canher flowers hanging around his neck and the wounded, bleeding thighs, even its eyes seemed to ooze blood. Without any band playing, or any kind of fanfare, the buffalo would be silently paraded through the village. The procession then arrived at the temple and halted at the courtyard. At this point, the entire village flocked to watch the buffalo sacrifice. The Padal would lift his sword and bring it down with brute force, severing the buffalo's head from its body in a single blow. The buffalo would collapse on the ground with a huge thud. Blood would spurt out and the sword would drip with blood. Then the Padal wiped a little blood off the blade of the sword with his finger, and touched the forehead of the goddess, to make a mark with the blood. Then he touched his own forehead with the same finger, and made a mark there as well. Another young buffalo would be brought forward, and have haldi rubbed over Euro, a preparatory rite for its sacrifice the next year. After this ritual, people from other communities in the village would depart in a hurry, leaving only the Mahars on the scene. Then the Mahars loudly hailed the goddess and made preparations to skin the buffalo with knives and axes sharpened to an edge. They first skinned the buffalo, and then separated each limb from the body, cut off its 4 hooves and placed them in the mouth of the severed head. The head was then placed in front of the goddess, with a lamp made of wheat flour burning on top. The protruding bulging eyes, the long red tongue hanging out of the mouth, the bared teeth, the 4 hooves jutting out from the mouth of the buffalo lying at the feet of the goddess, and the red light in the Temple Euro, what a sight that was. The goddess, a huge brass mask with large protruding eyes, and a long nose with a huge nose ring hanging from it, was draped in a green sari. The fierce-looking goddess, the burning lamp with its flickering red flame, the surrounding darkness in the Temple Euro, the entire scene used to be so terrifying that the onlookers would be literally petrified. Once the buffalo was completely skinned and its limbs removed, the remaining flesh would be cut into large pieces, each weighing about half a shur. These pieces would be placed in huge pots. Even today, if you find large pieces of meat in your meal, they say, Euro such big pieces. Are they from the buffalo fair? Euro trademark, the liver of the buffalo would be as large as the cane basket used for sifting corn, and its heart as big as a huge pitcher. The organ, which looked like a bunch of grapes, was called boca. These 3 organs, the liver, the heart and the boca, were not cut. The man would already have prepared a special rope, 3 feet long and quite thick, especially for this occasion. The 3 organs, tied together in a bunch at one end of a rope, were cooked in a huge pot. The other end of the rope was tightly wound around the mouth of the pot. After the uncut organs were cooked, the rope would be unwound and the meat taken out. Meanwhile, women prepared the nivad, which included rotis made of wheat flour without oil. The rotis were then stacked in a neat pile, and the 3 cooked organs would be placed on top. This nivad was then brought to the temple as an offering to the goddess. Later it would be brought to the chadi and cut into smaller pieces, and distributed among the Mahars as the blessing of the goddess. Even young children would first touch this sacred food to their forehead as a mark of reverence, and only then would they put it in their mouth. By this time, huge stone chulhas would be ignited, with the pots kept atop, the huge flames licking them. One of the pots contained beaten grains of jowar. After the meat had been cooked till it was tender, some red chili powder, prepared and kept ready, would be added. Jars of water would be slowly poured into the pot. The panji was now ready. If it turned out to be very tasty, it would qualify as laki. After the chili powder was added, all meat pieces were taken out and kept in a huge basket, and the hot soup would remain in the pot. Then the pot was filled with red chili powder and brought to the boil. Now it was time to serve the food. The guests would be served first. They would be lovingly served repeated helpings. Only after the guests had had their fill, would the host sit down to eat. Children would be extremely impatient to eat. Each child carried an aluminum bowl and a plate. Each received a plateful of panji with a couple of meat pieces and a handful of cooked grains. Some men would polish off 6 to 7 plates and yet ask for more. Such heavy eaters they were. The meat was distributed among the 25 odd houses in the Maharwada and the Manwada, and thus the entire buffalo would be finished up in no time. Bursting at the seams with the meat, the men would pace around the Maharwada till late in the night. Memories of the buffalo fair would help them survive their miserable and wretched lives. They would live in their dirt pits on the periphery of the village, like discarded rags, ignored by society, and wait for the buffalo fair to come again the following year. Meanwhile, there would be work to do. The elders would arrive at the chadi next morning. The young and the very old would follow them there. The patrajas would come, dressed in their ritual finery and decked up in their traditional ornaments. The players would arrive with their instruments. The women who dispensed medicines and who could cure illnesses caused by evil spirits would now play a very important role. Only these women knew which rituals should be performed to appease the goddess. Nothing should go wrong. Otherwise they might invite the wrath of the goddess upon themselves. In the lilting tunes of the shanai and amidst the rhythmic beats of the drums and dimdi, men and women would let themselves go. The patrajas would start their dance, and the women and young girls joined the dance, their hair flying wild. The accompanists would tire out, but the whirling women would not. Nor would they allow the players to stop. Dancing non-stop, they would signal them to continue to play the music. If someone did not listen, they would impel him with fierce stares to play on. While dancing, they would be possessed by the spirit of the goddess. Then each dancing goddess would predict what the future had in store for the village. I have crossed the waters, the spaces, the 7 nether worlds to meet my children. A trademark they would declare. A trademark VE come in answer to your call. A trademark LL depart after bestowing happiness on all of you. Your simple devotion has pleased me immensely. Therefore I give you a good omen. This land has my blessings. A trademark. Their speech would be punctuated with those terrible humming sounds. Unhun, unhun trademark. Then they would continue. My children, there is a monster, no rain this year, no crops will grow, all animals will die, no mother will know her child, nor any child its mother, yet my children, I'll help you. But give me my due in time, don't a trademark T keep my followers, the ghosts, hungry and dissatisfied. They take off at my command, if they don't a trademark T receive their share, they will be furious, they a trademark LL grind your houses to dust in their fury. So children, don't a trademark T deprive me of my share, take this charm of good luck and tie it to your ceiling. Be careful, protect sacred things from any kind of pollution. A trademark. Unhun, unhyun, a trademark another would intone. A come on my coachman, let me go, give me my favorite baji. A trademark. Then the senior-most Karbari would hand her a twig of neem leaves, which she would chew and eat with evident relish. Since the neem leaves are extremely bitter, onlookers would watch her in fascination, completely spellbound. This was proof enough that it was actually the goddess possessing the woman a trademark S body. No ordinary mortal could eat something that tastes so bitter. Women would burst out in wonder and amazement. Oh my, look how she eats the neem leaves. We can't a trademark T bite even one leaf, eat a trademark S so bitter. But she trademark S eaten a whole bunch of them, a trademark. While one possessed woman demonstrated her holiness so, another would let out a piercing shriek and pick up a quarrel with the patraja himself. Grinding her teeth fiercely, she would accuse him of ignoring her and shout at him, declaring that she felt upset and would not dance. Then she would flounce away and start wailing aloud. Then the patraja would dance all the way to her and smear her forehead with haldi. He would blow his pipe into her ear, and holding her hand, lead her back to join the crowd of dancing women. Yet another possessed woman would dance in such a mad frenzy that everyone watching would begin to feel scared. Then the Karbari would rush to pacify her. O mother, please don't a trademark T torment the tree, so a trademark. Then the woman would twist her body even more. A coachman, you a trademark V forgotten me. I want a trademark T go back without taking revenge on you. You know my wrath. A trademark. This threat frightened the Karbari so much that he would beg her with folded hands, oh mother, we are just ignorant and foolish creatures. What do we know of anything? You live in the midst of the 7 seas. Yet you have come all the way, especially for us, to take us under your wings. Please forgive us our mistakes. We beg you to have mercy on us. A trademark. Speaking thus, he would take off his turban and place it at her feet as a mark of utmost humility. Then everybody would rush to touch her feet in supplication. They would swear eternal loyalty to her, beg for her mercy, and throw lemons over her body. Then she would relent and say, "All right, my children, all right, I forgive you. But my entourage of ghosts has been put to a lot of trouble. Give them their due. €. Trademark. The Karbari would agree immediately. €. Yes, yes, mother, we are your humble servants. But we want good omens from you. Oh mother, if the child wets her moth €. Trademark S lap, does she punish it? Yes, we have erred. But please forgive us. €. Trademark. The mother would say, €. All right, coachman, spread your hands and collect what I give you. I give you all my gold. Sprinkle it in all corners and your people will lack nothing. €. Trademark. Then somebody would bring the ash from the cholha, on which the buffalo had been cooked, and would give it to her. This she gave to the Karbari and declared that she was ready to depart. Then the woman who had been possessed would become conscious as if she had been woken up from a deep sleep. Meanwhile, another woman €. Trademark S teeth would lock. As did yet another €. Trademark S arms. The day would end with thousands of such happenings. The entire community had sunk deep in the mire of such dreadful superstitions. The upper castes had never allowed this lowly caste of ours to acquire knowledge. Generations after generations, our people rotted and perished by following such a superstitious way of life. Yet, we kept believing in your Hindu religion and serving you faithfully. We may be coarse and ignorant, yet you must admit that we have been the most devoted children of Maharashtra, this land of our birth, and it is we who are the true heirs of this great land. You played with our lives and enjoyed yourselves at our expense. But remember, we may have lost everything, but never the truth. We never rebelled against you, did we? We did not perform namage when you worshipped, did we? You considered the cow holy, we never insulted her, did we? We obeyed every diktat of your Hindu religion, we followed all your traditions. Why did you single us out for your contempt? We were the people who lived in your house, yet we dared not drink even a drop of water there. We never dared to cross your path. We dedicated ourselves to the service of the civilization and culture that was so precious to you, in spite of the fact that it was always unkind and unjust to us. Why, we would even spread out our hands like spittoons for you if you wanted to spit. Then why did you treat us with so much contempt? Course we may have been, but we always remained so loyal to you. You have always been treacherous to us, but we never deceived our mother. We ate dry husk and told ourselves we were eating rich food, we considered our huts great mansions, we considered our terrible poverty as the golden peak of affluence. We dreamt and floated among the clouds, waiting for one little ray of hope to lace our dark dreams. 4.